It's the guy doing things, back with episode 34. Now, a while back I did a challenge where I only ate vegan food for a whole month, and I finally got an interview with one of the coolest people in the world when it comes to vegan food and the whole vegetarian and vegan and plant-based lifestyle. Tammy Fry Kelly, and it's going to be awesome. I hope you're tuned in. I hope you're ready for this episode. It's going to be super cool. She's actually calling in from Australia, which is so cool. Exciting. This is episode 34. Let's go. Okay, I'm talking this morning or this afternoon to Tammy Fry Kelly. She's on the other side of the world in Australia, and I'm in South Africa, so it's a good morning and a good afternoon to you, Tammy. Welcome to The Guy Doing Things.
Thank you so much, Thornton. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you and changing the world. Awesome.
And now, usually I start off just like with asking the questions immediately, but I read something on your bio that kind of interests me. You are kind of like a karate pro. So despite being an advocate for plant-based lifestyle and you know, altogether having a better impact in the world with regards to what we eat, you also kind of you can do this martial art. So how did you get into karate, and is that like a second love to you next to advocating plant-based lifestyle?
Yeah, the two have definitely dominated my passion for the past, since I was born. Actually, I started martial arts when I was 4 years old, and wow. And continued for 30 years. So I'm now a 5th Dan, but there's been so many amazing moments that I've experienced in my time being an athlete and martial artist, and so many learnings I've had, which I've been able to apply to my plant-based passion, in nutrition, how to train and be fit on a plant-based diet. I was a plant-based athlete before it was a real thing. So, there's been a lot of learnings about how to inspire people to change and how to advocate for change through, leading by example. And women's empowerment is a huge passion of mine as well. So I also teach self-defense to women.
Oh, that's awesome.
And in fact, run a self-defense program in Australia, where the funds generated from the program, 100% of the funds generated are used to teach women in Africa that have been exposed to violence. So, I have a strong belief that if you can do something, you should. And I'm very fortunate enough to have these opportunities. And so I grab them with both hands and try and make a little difference, in my lifetime.
And that's super awesome, and I that difference came all the way to our side back again. I know you're originally from South Africa, but you're currently based in Australia, and all that love, all that hard work, is making its way through the world. I can't go into a store now where I don't see your family's food. So I just wanted to know, like, where did this passion start? Where did your family's love for plant-based food start? And was it born out of a love for the planet or for animals, or where did it start?
I think it probably started out of a love for a father for his daughter, a little bit. My father was a 100%. Probably self-confessed carnivore. He would eat meat 3 times a day. He was a farmer in KwaZulu-Natal, up in the sugarcane. And he left that business and he started his own business in Cato Ridge, KwaZulu-Natal, where he was farming goats for ritual slaughter. I was born at that time. We were living in a probably 30 square meter home with concrete palisade walls and a tin roof, no partitioning walls in the house, no running water that we were fetching in buckets from the river. So it was definitely a tough start for us as a young family at that time. And I was born, at the farm, and there were other farm animals other than goats as well, which I became really attached to. And I could not really see the difference as a child between a dog or a goat or a pig or a chicken, and I loved them all equally. Yeah. And so it was natural for me not to consume animal products. My father, he really had that old belief system that you had to eat meat to be healthy. So he was trying to sneak meat into my diet where he could. But when I really knew what it was that I was eating, I was not going to, if it was an animal, I definitely wasn't going to eat it, and I didn't consider that to be food. Yeah. So I was doing a little bit of advocacy way back then when I was just 2, 3, 4 years old, really questioning him about everything that he was eating and saying, is that, what is that? Is that a chicken's leg? Why did you want to eat a chicken's leg? Did it do anything to you? Has it harmed you in any way? And, I think I really started to maybe make him a little more conscious about what he was eating. Anyway, we moved off the farm and he started a construction business, and he actually became very successful there. We weren't living in the 25 square meter room anymore, and he built everything to apartment blocks and factories, and he eventually built a piggery. It was a 5,000 sow piggery. Yeah. And he went to see the piggery in operation once he had built it. And I think that for him was his epiphany moment where he decided he was no longer going to eat meat. And he was going to join my mum and I. My mum was a born vegetarian like me as well, Debbie Fry. And so we were really excited. We were celebrating that he was now going to become a vegetarian like us. Yeah. And but he said, I can't go from eating boerewors and burgers and steak to eating broccoli and cauliflower. Like, it's just not going to cut it. I need food with protein. I need food that I can have at the braai with friends. I'm a South African meat eater. And so he started to develop a range of plant-based meats in our home kitchen. It was never intended to be a commercial venture. It was really to solve to be a solution for us as a family to continue on our plant-based way, and to have easy options, quick to cook, easy, high protein meals that would make life easier and allow us to still participate in braais and social events and Christmas time, and not be just sitting eating, vegetables. And there weren't any other options back then, so it was just vegetables on the side. Yeah. So that's how it all began, and then obviously, we found out that there were more than just our family that were vegetarians. There were a few more vegetarians in South Africa, and they would start buying some of our sausages and burgers. And this is going back to now 1991. So it's a very long time ago, 30 years this year. This is our 30-year birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, it's quite an incredible story. We got our first listing with Pick n Pay or ShopRite, I think. It was one of the 2 big retailers in South Africa. We weren't prepared for it at all. We were making, sausages in our kitchen with a food processor and some cooking pots and our home freezer. And so we had to scale up very, very quickly to make food on a larger scale, but still using the same homemade system that we were using at home. So we wanted to always keep it, homemade in its essence, and continue using ingredients that only us as a family would eat. It was very important to us. And we still apply those principles today. So we still today only use ingredients that we would be happy to feed our own children.
Yeah, and it's clear that the food is is family and homemade. So the reason that I actually wanted to have this chat with you was I challenged myself to do. I'm also a very passionate meat eater, and I challenged myself to go a whole month without any meat, go on a completely not vegetarian but vegan diet. And the test was, first of all, if I can still go on with my sport while eating plant-based food. The second challenge was the access to vegan and vegetarian food, either in shops or in restaurants. So it was kind of a multifaceted test that I took, and from what I discovered is that the access to it in restaurants is very limited. But I had even more energy to train when I did this, and when I actually went to the stores and I saw the food that you guys make. I mean, some of it is, I can't even distinguish it from the real thing. Let's call it the real thing. I mean, I'm putting it in brackets, but so it's such a cool thing to see that the perception behind being a vegetarian or vegan, you guys totally crushed it to get the right thing out there, and that's what I loved. To actually taste food and eat food that tastes like a proper meat patty or whatever, but the impact on the world and on animals is way less, and it's such a cool thing to be part of. Now, what I wanted to know actually is... Sorry, yes, you can...
No, I was going to say that's absolutely true. So when you transition to a plant-based diet, your training should get better, only because it's an anti-inflammatory diet. It's a more alkaline diet, so your recovery time should be vastly reduced. It's easier to digest, move through your system a lot quicker because it's plant protein. Animal protein takes a lot longer to digest and move through your system. So there's a lot of reasons why you should be able to recover quicker, and that you should feel better and lighter when you're training. And then, in terms of the taste and texture, like, really happy that you really enjoyed our products. And it's always great to get positive feedback. But that's exactly what we have to do. We have to match meat in terms of taste and texture, so that there's no excuses, there's no barriers to entry for people who want to go plant-based. There's now no compromise. It's not more difficult. It doesn't cost more, and it tastes the same. But none of the bad side is there. There's no... The environmental impact is reduced. The amounts of water used is reduced. There's no animals being slaughtered in the process. So there's a lot of other benefits other than just for your health. There's just and there's no compromise. It's simple. It's easy to do.
To be honest, the first time that I ate, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's a pepper steak pie, but it's obviously not a steak pie. And I started eating. And I asked my girlfriend, listen, are you sure this is the fries one? She said, yes. So I immediately stopped eating. I went to the packaging and I saw maybe it's like half steak, half vegan thing. Because I honestly thought that it was proper meat in the thing. So that a big ups to you guys. Because I literally put my plate down. I was like, let me just check the packaging before I continue eating.
That's good. I'm glad you had that. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Is to replicate meat products.
Now, what I wanted to ask, does it help to partly adjust your diet to move to plant-based, or is it kind of like, do you advocate for a all or nothing? One morning you eat meat, the next morning you don't, or does it actually help to say let's do lunch and dinner vegetarian, but maybe do a breakfast where we eat, or is it a all or nothing type of approach? What would you say, or what do you guys advocate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's an all or nothing approach. I think it's a journey, and just like a tree, you plant the seed, and in fact that's why I called my blog Seed Blog, because you plant the seed and it needs water and sunlight to grow, and and just as a new habit takes time to throw roots and establish, the oak tree doesn't grow in one day. And I think if it does grow in a day, there is some instability there, and we do get a high churn rate out of veganism, where people go vegan overnight, and after 1 month they really start to struggle with what do I eat? I'm really craving this, and now I'm not allowed it, and so I don't want to be in this diet. I don't want to follow this diet. I don't want it to be difficult to do. So I think it's definitely a journey. I mean, for me, I don't have a vegan anniversary. Like, there are people that will say I'm celebrating my 5th vegan anniversary, which means they went vegan on one day and then they never ate meat or any animal product thereafter.
Yeah.
Even for me, it was a transition from vegetarian to vegan. Starting to introduce plant-based milk, starting to introduce plant-based cheeses, exploring them to see which ones you actually like, buying vegan cookbooks, exploring new types of cuisines, so there's a big journey that's involved. There's also, your body takes time to adapt and change, which I think is important to go through that phase of change in a more slower way. So, I think it's a journey, and I think partly adjusting is okay, but to stay there is not okay. You have to continue forward, and as you become more conscious, you will continue forward with your journey, because you'll start to realize everything about why we shouldn't be consuming animal products. Not in today's world, not with this many people on the planet. We have to transition if we want to do our best, and we want to contribute positively to this earth, and we want to leave this world one day and say, I did my best to support humanity and Mother Earth, then you need to continue towards a plant-based diet. You can't stop at some point, but you can get there slowly if that's what you require.
Yes. So speaking about impact, what other actions are your company taking to being kind to the environment, or is it also still a process for you guys in terms of what packaging you use, or what the supply chain looks like, or are you already above and beyond the food, already making other actions as part of being kind to the environment?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Thanks for that. Fry's set sales targets every year, and we don't set them in terms of the turnover of the company, but we set them in terms of what environmental impact we're making. And 2021, our global Fry's sales target is to save 4.7 million animals, to save 67 billion liters of water, and to save 105,000 tons of CO2. So this is through selling plant-based meats to people who may have been consuming animal products in place of plant-based meats. That's the kind of impact that we have by selling plant-based meats. Over and above that, we are vertically integrating some of our supply and our raw materials, the seed to table concept, using nature positive farming practices. And we're also looking at producing these crops or growing these crops where our manufacturing plants are. So that's going to, not only provide jobs locally, but also give us, we won't have to be importing raw material, which we're trying to move away from. In order to do this, of course, you have to reach a point where you are producing enough volume that you can grow locally. So local manufacture won't be possible in all the 28 countries we supply, but certainly our big countries, we are looking at local manufacture and ingredient sourcing. And then we're moving all of our packaging to fully sustainable packaging by 2022. And this is not an easy solution, as some of the consumers might think. It does take time. Ideally, we don't want to use virgin boards, but they're not actually available for food as non-virgin or recycled board. You can't use recycled board on food. So, but our boards are all recyclable. So once you've got them, you can put them into your recycling bin. And we're moving away from packing everything in plastic inside a box, and we're removing all of those plastic packets. So we're doing our very best to be as sustainable and environmentally aware as possible. in every aspect of our business, grey water recycling, solar panels for power. So we do a lot beyond just producing plant-based meats.
Yeah, and that's awesome to hear. I mean, the overall impact of the company is thought through very thoroughly, and for that also, I take my hat off. That's really awesome. Let's get practical. You recently published your new book, Made with Love and Plants, and when I also just read about what it's about, definitely I'm ordering my own one as well. But what's cool is that it's not only a cookbook; it's a guide to living a plant-based lifestyle. So, just take us a bit through what this book is trying to achieve and why everyone listening to this podcast should buy one.
Please go buy one. No. Actually, the book just came about. I've been running workshops in South Africa for a couple of years, teaching people how to transition to a plant-based diet. So this book is a culmination of learnings that I've had, from being a child myself to being a plant-based athlete to being a mother to being pregnant, and all the experiences I've had along the way, and capturing those learnings in a really simple format. How to meal plan. I mean, that's a really difficult thing. People find difficult. How do I get my protein? Where do I get iron from? What kind of meals can I make that can feed a whole family on a budget? So I cover all these things from, being vegan on a budget, vegan parenting, how to pack a lunchbox, tips to for batch cooking. There are batch cooking recipes, so mums who are busy, I get you. I'm in this exact same situation. So how to batch cook on a Sunday and prepare for the week ahead. There's also a section on fermentation and gut health, which is a massive area of passion for me. There's a whole lot in there, but there's also 85 whole food plant-based recipes, which are all chef tested as well. They all work, they're all beautiful. There's sustainable gifting section, and another area where I'm very passionate is to give sustainable gifts and homemade gifts. So there's a lot in there that is going to help you to take these first few steps towards a plant-based diet. It's a really beautifully photographed book, so it's great to have on your kitchen counter, and I hope that it inspires people to start taking, to start going down that journey and to connect with me. I mean, I would love people to connect with me through Instagram. Ask the questions. I love answering them. For me, it's a real passion. So the more I can add value to your life and to your journey, the happier I am, the happier I feel. So, people can connect with me and ask those questions. My Instagram handle is @TammyFry_.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So and also the Fry's family food page on Instagram is also pretty cool. I love
and the Fry family. Absolutely, there's recipes there. We shoot a lot of cooking videos, so there's and I shoot a lot of those. So there's a lot of really fun recipes, easy to make, cost effective, with things that you probably have in your pantry right now. So check that out as well. Check out our YouTube channel, connect with us. We are just a family, probably in the same situation as you, hardworking, busy people with a million things to do. And I know that this is just one extra thing that can sometimes be too much. But trust me, this journey is not as hard as you think. As Thornton just said, it's actually a lot easier. And just introducing it once or twice a week or 3 times a week, or go vegan during the week and eat meats on the weekend, and slowly go about making those small changes.
Thank you so much, Tammy, and thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, and I'm looking forward to some more recipes and actually cooking the meals in your cookbook. I mean, that's going to be very exciting. Thanks for making a change
so much.
In the world. It's so awesome, and thank you very much for the chat.
Oh, thanks, Thornton. There's so many people out there. So anyone who's listening that's out there doing the same work, let's keep working together to make to change the world for the better.
there you have it. Let's go out and change the world for the better. What a cool chat. What a cool person, Tammy Fry, Kelly. And go and check them out on Instagram. Also check out their website and at your local store. Why don't you take a chance and go and buy some of their products? It's so delicious and definitely worthwhile if you recognize the impact that you're also making in the world. Thank you so much for listening to The Guy Doing Things, and until next time, goodbye.